and they urge you to hasten the punishment. And if not for a specified term, punishment would have reached them, but it will surely come to them suddenly while they perceive not. They urge you to hasten the punishment, and indeed hell will be encompassing of the disbelievers. On the day the punishment will cover them from above them and from below their feet, and it is said, taste the result of what you used to do. يا عبادي الذين آمنوا إن أرضي واسعة فإياي فاعبدون. O my servants who have believed, indeed my earth is spacious, so worship only me. Allah tells us that His earth, His land is spacious. So what should you do? Worship only Allah. This ayah is emphasizing that if you cannot worship Allah in one place, then go to another place where you can worship Allah. Because worship of Allah is incumbent upon us. It's the purpose of our creation. And we should not compromise His worship because we want to remain in a particular land. So if one part of the earth is making it difficult for you, you cannot worship Allah correctly as He has decreed that you should, then go to another place where you can. And no one can tell you, live here and you worship Allah better, live there and you worship Allah better. Everyone comes to that decision and conclusion by themselves. Some people function and work better in one environment, some work and function better in another environment. So for each is their own situation, and each should make that choice. I know we have to understand that for women it's often difficult. Sometimes women would prefer to live in another place, but they don't have the control of that situation, so they shouldn't feel bad because they just do the best in the situation that they have. Usually it is a husband or a father who is in control and makes the decision of where they're going to stay. But scholars have said that if nothing else, then people should make the effort to visit Mecca. They should strive as much as they can to visit the holy cities, in particular Mecca, because there one salah is rewarded 100,000 times. One salah. So just praying there can reward you years and years of worship just through a few days of worship in Mecca. And anyone who goes to Mecca, who has been there, will tell you that going there revives the iman, renews the spirit, brings a positive change, purifies the heart, reminds a person again what is the purpose of their creation, refocuses them, recenters them, and rejuvenates them so they come back with fresh priorities, with fresh plans for what they're going to do next to implement the worship of Allah in their lives. So at least travel the earth and go to Mecca. And then, even if a person finds it difficult to do that, everybody's circumstances are different. Go to the masajid. Go to places where there is worship of Allah. Make that a part of the routine of the family, of yourself, individually, so that there is some focus once more recentering on the worship of Allah. Specifically, it's talking about one land to the next because it's in reference to the Muslims of Makkah were going to migrate to another city, to Medina. But no, the Prophet ﷺ said in hadith, Al-muhajiru man hajira ma nahallahu anhu, that a person, a muhajir, one who migrates in the way of Allah, is one who goes away from what Allah has forbidden. So when you take that hadith as a principle, then yes, going from one environment to another, even within the same city, same town, one room to another, all of this is moving away from what Allah has forbidden. There are specific countries where you cannot travel to without a mahram, so that's forbidden for them, unless they have a mahram. There's no way around that. Besides that, many scholars have said that for women, they should seek knowledge within their own surroundings, or even now we have the ability to learn online. They should make the effort to seek that knowledge to the best of their abilities first. And then if there are safe ways and means for them to travel to gain knowledge, then that's acceptable and fine too. Like obviously you need the finances, you need the permission and so on. So they shouldn't fight against that if that's not there. They should continue making dua to have the ability to do that while within the means that they have, learning as much as they can. And there's many opportunities now. Even within the West now, there's many opportunities to gain knowledge. That's not something that should stop someone. Knowledge is available now in a way that it wasn't in previous eras. It's available at the click of a button. People have teachers from the Middle East online teaching them. Very, very good teachers. So there's many options for a person to learn. But you see the end of the ayah, Allah says, فَإِيَّايَ فَاعْبُدُونَ, so worship only me. Wherever you are, remember the purpose of your creation, which is to worship only Allah. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ, every soul will taste death, then to us you will be returned. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and those who have believed and done righteous deeds, we will surely assign to them of paradise elevated chambers beneath which rivers flow, wherein they abide eternally. Excellent is the reward of the righteous workers. Allah says that we will assign to those people elevated chambers in paradise. What comes to your mind when you think of elevated chambers? Something high, palaces that are high. The reality we don't know. What comes to our mind? Penthouses, good. So the exclusive property is always like further up, higher land. So elevated chambers, which will be given to the people who do righteousness in the way of Allah, do remain focused on the fact that the purpose of creation is to worship Allah. الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ, who have been patient and upon their Lord they rely. Meaning those who are patient, they rely upon Allah. In this context, scholars say specifically when it comes to rizq, when it comes to provision, they rely upon Allah. So if they have to emigrate for the sake of Allah, or leave one place for the sake of Allah, even within the same city or town or country, and they lose something in provision, they rely on Allah that He will bring us rizq. He will place barakah in the rizq that we have, and He will give us from His own, from Himself. وَكَأَيٍّ مِّن دَابَّةٍ لَا تَحْمِلُ رِزْقَهَا اللَّهُ يَرْزُقُهَا وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And how many a creature carries not its own provision, Allah provides for it and for you, and He is the hearing and knowing. This is an amazing ayah. Here Allah calls us to reflect that look at the creatures when they come out of their homes, wherever they live, they don't go out and purchase groceries and then go home and store them. I mean, sorry to be literal, but they don't the way that we do. What do? They go out, and each time they need something to eat, they get something fresh. Who's providing for them? They're not dying of starvation. Who's providing? Allah is providing for them. They don't carry their rizq on their back. They don't constantly worry about it. Allah is the one who provides for them. We have to make the effort. It's not a case of sit back, kick back your legs and sit up and say, okay, now Allah is going to give me. And He provides for the animals and the birds. So someone tells their wife, it's okay, Allah says He provides for the animals and birds. He's going to give us too. And then sit back. No. You make the effort. You strive in the way of Allah, and then Allah brings the rizq to you. But He is the ultimate provider. If you ask them who created the heavens and the earth and subjected the sun and the moon, they would surely say Allah. Then how are they deluded? Allah extends provision for whom He wills of His servants and restricts for him. Indeed, Allah is of all things knowing. How interesting. Allah extends provision and He restricts. And He has the knowledge to know for whom He should extend provision, give much, and whom He keeps with restriction. And that's according to His knowledge. And even if a person puts in a great amount of effort, they're only actually going to get what was due for them. The effort is not what got the rizq, it was what was written for them. That's why, have you noticed sometimes 2 siblings, 3, 4, 5 siblings will each have different amount of rizq. They're all from the same family. You will notice people who have done the same degree, have the same qualification, but they have different levels of earning. And this is all the decree of Allah. He is the one who decrees, and it's based on His knowledge. And if you ask them, who sends down rain from the sky and gives life thereby to the earth after its lifelessness, they would surely say, Allah. قُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. Say praise to Allah. But most of them do not reason. Not reason what way? That He is the one who provides with rizq.